Welcome to Quick Speak, the English podcast. Today we're looking into something many of us feel quite often, I think. It's that feeling that time is just passing too quickly. Or maybe that some of the time we have feels wasted.
Right. It's a really common feeling. We'll talk a bit about why this happens, maybe what causes it, and if there's maybe a different way to think about the minutes and hours in our day.
Yeah, let's try to understand the ideas and maybe some of the science behind what people often call wasted time.
Okay, so first off, what do we actually mean by wasted time? Often it feels like time that wasn't used for, say, work or specific fun activities we planned.
Mm-hmm. But it's very personal, isn't it?
Extremely. One person might see just sitting and thinking as, well, wasting time, but someone else might see that exact same time as necessary rest or, a chance for new ideas to pop up.
That's interesting. So looking back historically, this idea that idle time is bad, where did that come from?
Well, it seems to have grown stronger, maybe hundreds of years ago, especially when factories became common. Suddenly, not working, not being visibly productive, was seen as bad for the economy, bad for progress.
Right, the focus was on output. Keep the machines running.
Exactly. But even today, there's research showing that letting your mind just wander, letting it drift, can actually help you solve problems. It can boost creativity. So just labeling time as wasted might be, well, a bit too simple.
It gets complicated, though, because it's not just our own judgment, is it? Other people, like maybe your boss or even what you see on social media, they have ideas about how you should use your time.
Absolutely. There's this external pressure. You might feel like you never have enough time for the important things, but then you look at data and it shows people spending sometimes hours and hours on apps just for fun or distraction.
So there's a gap between what we think we should do and what we actually end up doing.
Precisely. Understanding this idea of waste means balancing what society expects, what actually makes us feel good, and maybe those hidden benefits of just letting our minds rest.
Okay, so why do we do it? Why do we put off important things leading to that feeling of wasted time? Procrastination comes to mind.
Procrastination, yes, that's a big factor. It often happens because, well, our brains want the fun thing now more than the bigger reward that comes later. It's about immediate gratification versus delayed reward.
And it's not just about avoiding hard work, is it? I remember reading about decision fatigue.
Decision fatigue, that's really relevant.
Sure.
Making lots and lots of small decisions all day long can actually tire out our brains. And when your brain is tired, it's just much easier to switch off and do something easy, something passive.
Like picking up your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like looking at your phone. And in today's world, so many things are fighting for our attention, aren't they? Apps, especially social media apps, they're often designed specifically to keep us looking, keep us engaged.
How do they do that?
They use little rewards. Think about a like notification or a new message alert. They give you a tiny dopamine hit that's hard to ignore. Scientists say these small constant checks break our focus. They make it harder to really concentrate on bigger tasks later on.
So every notification, every quick check could potentially pull time away from what you originally planned to do.
Yeah, each one can chip away at your focus time. Knowing these reasons, procrastination, decision fatigue, the way tech is designed, helps us understand why we might spend time in ways we later, regret.
Let's talk more about the phone. The amount of time spent on screens, it's really high for many people, isn't it?
It is, often several hours a day on average across the world. And like we said, apps are built to keep you engaged. Things like endless scrolling feeds or constant alerts, they tap into the reward parts of our brain. Makes it hard to stop.
It's funny, in the past, maybe people worried about employees talking too much at work, wasting time that way.
Right. And now it's maybe more about the constant stream of digital information right there in our pockets. It's a different kind of distraction.
But can technology breaks be good, like a quick game or checking messages?
Oh, definitely. Short breaks using technology can actually help us rest our minds a bit, maybe feel refreshed for work later. It's not all bad. The problem really comes when these short breaks turn into really long periods of just passive watching or scrolling, not really doing anything active.
And that can hurt both, well, how much we get done and maybe how happy we feel overall.
Exactly. It can impact productivity and well-being. Some workplaces are even trying things like rules about not using phones during certain times or encouraging screen time limits. We're all still kind of figuring out how to use technology in ways that help us without letting it take over too much of our time and attention.
This connects to workplace culture too, doesn't it? This idea that being busy means you're important or productive.
Oh, absolutely. that cult of busyness. It seems to have started, or at least got stronger, a long time ago. Think back to those early studies of factory workers. The goal was to make them work faster by cutting out any non-work time, any perceived idleness. Efficiency was everything.
And that idea still sticks around, even in jobs that aren't in factories.
It seems so. Even with more freedom in many jobs today, like knowledge work, lots of people feel constantly busy. But often it's because of maybe bad ways of managing tasks or too many meetings that don't really achieve much. It's ineffective busyness.
What about doing many things at once? Multitasking, that used to be seen as a good skill.
It was, wasn't it?
Hmm.
But the research now is pretty clear. Switching constantly between tasks actually slows you down. You tend to make more mistakes too. But still, many professionals try to handle emails, calls, reports, everything, all at the same time.
So the real time waste isn't necessarily having a few free minutes, but maybe it's workflows that aren't well organized.
It seems to be a big part of it. It turns the day into just jumping frantically from one thing to another without deep focus. Questioning that assumption that being busy always equals being good, that's maybe the first step to getting some valuable time back.
Okay, so if frantic busy work isn't ideal, what is? You mentioned focus earlier. There's a concept called flow, right?
Yes, flow. It was described by a psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, many years ago. It's that state you get into when you're completely focused on something, usually something where the challenge is just right for your skill level, not too easy, not too hard.
And when you're in that state, what happens to time?
Well, time doesn't feel wasted, but also doesn't feel rushed. Hours can pass without you even noticing because you're just totally involved, totally absorbed in the activity.
That sounds like the opposite of the stress you feel when rushing through lots of small, maybe unimportant tasks.
Exactly. Feeling overwhelmed by loads of little things makes us stressed and often leaves us feeling like we haven't actually achieved anything meaningful. Finding that flow state requires, well, avoiding things that interrupt you, minimizing distractions, and choosing tasks that really fit your abilities and engage you.
But that sounds difficult in many modern jobs.
It can be. Many jobs today make it hard to get that deep focus. People often report their days are just broken up into small pieces, leading to lots of tasks being only partly finished. But maybe by deliberately planning time for deep focus and setting clear goals for that time, you could turn time that felt wasted into periods of high creativity and, well, even happiness.
Planning seems key then. Having a clear plan for what you want to do must help guide your time.
It does. Tools can help here. Things like sorting tasks maybe into urgent and important categories, or setting goals that are smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. These help you see which activities are actually valuable.
And which are just busy work.
Exactly. Which activities move you forward and which just fill the time. Without these kinds of tools, it's easy to feel busy but not make any real progress on what matters.
But can you be too strict with planning? Plan every single minute.
That could cause problems too, yes.
Yeah.
Some people find that if every minute is planned out, it actually makes it harder to start anything. Every choice feels too big, too important.
So what's a good middle ground?
Maybe finding strategies that work for you, like grouping similar tasks together, sometimes called batching, or blocking out specific chunks of time for specific kinds of work, like deep focus work. And importantly, being flexible when unexpected things inevitably pop up.
And making sure your goals are actually your goals.
That's crucial. When your goals match what's truly important to you, not just what outside pressure dictates, you're much less likely to feel like you're wasting time on things that don't really matter in the long run.
We've talked a lot about individual feelings in workplaces, but culture plays a role too, right? How different cultures see time.
Oh, hugely. Different cultures can have very different views of time. Some cultures, maybe like in Germany or the US, often really value schedules and being on time. Punctuality is important. Not following the clock closely can sometimes be seen as, well, inefficient or even rude.
And other cultures.
Other cultures, perhaps in some Mediterranean or Latin American countries, might be more flexible with time. They might place a higher value on relationships and social visits than on sticking rigidly to a schedule.
So what one culture might call wasted time, maybe a long, relaxed conversation, another might see as really important social connection.
That really shows how subjective it is. And there's another concept too, time poverty.
Yes, time poverty. This talks about people who have many, many roles and responsibilities, like maybe being a parent, holding down a job, possibly a side job too, and caring for family members. They often feel like they simply never have enough time.
And for them, any unplanned delay or minute lost feels like a bigger deal.
It can, yes. Every minute can feel precious, and any unexpected disruption can feel like a significant loss. Dealing with this often needs bigger solutions from society, not just individual time management tricks. Things like flexible work options or affordable childcare.
So wasted time isn't just a personal issue, it can be a community or societal issue too.
Definitely, it has both personal and broader dimensions. And time that isn't used well, it can cost money too, right?
It certainly can. For businesses, think about unproductive meetings. If you add up everyone's salary for the time spent in a meeting that achieves nothing, it can cost a lot. And for individuals, things like sitting in traffic jams for hours each week, that's time lost that could have been used differently.
So companies try things like no meeting days, and cities try to manage traffic better.
Exactly. They try to reduce that quantifiable time loss. But focusing only on the money value of time can make us forget the human side.
How so?
Well, the stress, the tiredness, the feeling unhappy, these often come with trying to constantly optimize, trying to do too much. When we only see time as money, we risk treating people, including ourselves, a bit like machines. We forget how important rest and play and just unstructured free time are for our actual well-being.
Okay, so if people feel they are wasting time and want to change that, what are some practical methods?
Well, there are many techniques people try. One simple starting point is just keeping a list, a log, of how you actually spend your time for a few days. It can be quite revealing to see where the time actually disappears.
And specific techniques, like Pomodoro.
Yes, the Pomodoro technique is popular. That involves working in short, focused bursts, maybe 25 minutes, followed by a short break. It can help fight procrastination. Creating routines for focused work can also help. Maybe setting aside specific times, putting your phone on silent, using noise-canceling headphones, things like that.
And mindfulness. How does that fit in?
Practicing mindfulness can help you become more aware of your thoughts and impulses in the moment. It can help you notice when you're about to slip into a time-wasting habit, maybe before it actually happens, giving you a chance to choose differently.
But again, there's that worry about planning too much, right? Scheduling every single minute.
Exactly. Some people do worry about that. If everything is scheduled, where's the room for spontaneous ideas? Or just happy accidents, those moments of serendipity? That could actually hurt creativity.
So the goal isn't necessarily perfect efficiency every second?
Perhaps not. One idea is not to try to use every second perfectly, but maybe to create clearer boundaries. Clear times for work and clear times for personal life and rest. The best approach might not be about controlling every minute, but more about making intentional space for both planned achievements and unplanned exploration or relaxation.
Looking ahead then, what about future technology, like artificial intelligence, AI? Could that help or hurt our relationship with time?
It's a really interesting question, and it could go either way. On one hand, AI could take over many simple routine tasks, things like scheduling meetings, sending standard emails, maybe summarizing long reports. That could free up a lot of our time for more complex or creative work.
That sounds positive, but what's the potential downside?
Well, the potential for more monitoring. If AI-powered apps start tracking everything we do at work or even at home, it might feel like being watched constantly. Like there's constant pressure to be productive. So people are discussing, will future technology be more like a helpful assistant or more like a strict supervisor watching over our time?
And how might society react to all this technology influencing our time?
We might see people actively seeking out more activities without technology, more analog experiences, things like reading physical books, joining clubs, going on quiet retreats, maybe having meals where everyone agrees to put their phones away.
A kind of pushback against constant connection.
Possibly. As technology becomes more and more present everywhere, the really big question remains, how do we make sure that technology helps us live according to our own values? Instead of letting the technology itself dictate how we live, how we spend our time. The future of how we use our time really depends on finding that balance, I think.
So we've covered a lot. It seems that what we call wasted time is actually quite complex.
It really is. It feels different for everyone. And as we've seen, it's connected to how our minds work, the technology we use every day, our workplace culture, and even our broader culture.
But hopefully, understanding these different factors can help us manage our time in a way that feels better for us.
And it's so important to remember, isn't it, that Time isn't just about doing things faster or being more productive in an economic sense or earning money.
Absolutely. It's also about rest and creativity and connecting with other people. Those things are incredibly valuable too, even if they don't look busy.
So, maybe a final thought for everyone listening. How will we, individually and together, make sure that technology and all the demands of the modern world truly serve what is important to us, rather than just consuming our valuable time? If you found this discussion interesting, please consider subscribing so you don't miss our next conversation.
And you can find more learning materials on our website. That includes vocabulary lists and exercises based on today's topic. You'll find the link in the description.
Thank you for listening to Quick Speak.